Alright, so I'm in a different location for undisclosed reasons. I'll just leave it at that. And today I had my day off finally. I've had some very tough days recently. But I got through them. Got my day off now. And trying to make the most of it. And part of that is going to be recording some of these in advance, because probably not gonna be able to do it on Monday or Tuesday because I'm working on those days for 8 hours, so rip my free time. But anyways, I guess it kind of fits into the theme of this, because today I wanted to talk about seizing your opportunities. Speaking of which, let me seize this opportunity to lock my doors, because I didn't do that. Because my car automatically just the moment you put it in park, it just instantly unlocks the doors, which is useful, but also sometimes it's I want to sit here for a while and I don't want to get out of the car, and I don't really want my car door to be unlocked, because what if some guy comes and tries to carjack me or something? You know, he just fucking GTA style just opens the door, throws me out of the car, and then just takes the fucking car, you know? So, let's try to avoid that. But, anyways, back to what I was saying. Today I want to talk about the idea of just seizing your opportunities. And something I've kind of neglected for a long time, to be honest. Because I mean, I guess, to be fair, I'm someone who I feel like doesn't get that many opportunities. Because, as I mentioned in that other video, that I'm introverted, you know? That's just kind of how it is. I'm introverted. I don't know, or I shouldn't say I don't know, but I have a hard time being able to kind of create a lot of social opportunities for myself. That was especially true in school. I never went to any clubs throughout most of school, that sort of thing. I did go into the board game club at my community college at one point. I was there for a semester, and then after that I think it kind of fell off. But I mean, it was kind of fun while it lasted, to be honest. I also met this guy outside the board game club too. And we were just playing Smash 4 on our 3DSs before Ultimate came out. That was pretty fun. And I remember I didn't know how the fuck to recover, and we were playing on that one shitty Zelda map where it has a bridge and the bridge collapses, and then there's just a fucking giant pit, and I would just keep falling in there. He's like, why do you keep falling in there? We both kept falling in there. It was so funny. But off topic, yeah, I didn't really have a lot of, I guess, opportunities to seize. And part of that, I think, is because I wasn't really trying to create opportunities for myself. But the other part of it is that I wasn't really willing to actually seize those opportunities themselves, you know? And so for a long time, I kind of would always just squander a lot of the opportunities I had. I think one of the examples I could say is that when I was at community college, there were scholarships that you could apply for. And I thought about it a couple times. And I ended up just never actually applying for any scholarships at all, which is kind of fucking dumb. It's you could just get free money if, you qualify or whatever, or you can prove to them that yeah, you deserve this. You can just get free money. I was that's too much effort. Actually, I don't know if I want the free money. What the fuck was I thinking, man? Oh. But the main thing that really made me want to make this was an opportunity that I've had for years at this point, and I kind of squandered it, and ended up regretting that a lot, because basically I have had a lot of ideas for like big video projects over the years, and I talked about the chat one that I had before. I talked about that in a previous video, which I thought was fairly like comprehensive of the situation, or the basic idea of the video. But the problem I had was that I just kept not liking what I was writing and scrapping it, and then, you know, a lot of scope creep as well. So it starts off as this one thing, then it ends up being this totally expanded different thing, and it fucking is kind of dumb. But I had some other ideas too, which I kind of don't want to share because they are very unique ideas that nobody else has ever done, and that's part of what makes it interesting, and part of what might be the allure. Because if I just told people, yeah, I did this, then somebody might see that idea and be like, oh, you know what, yeah, I'll do that, and then they would technically be the first person to do it, even though I've already done it, or even though I was in the process of doing it. I had two really cool ideas, and they were things nobody had done before in those particular games. And unfortunately for one of them, it was like a year. Like, I'm talking a year of me grinding. Technically, it wasn't a full year because I just didn't have enough time or motivation or willpower to do it on some days. But it was like I tried to be as consistently daily as possible with doing them every day. And I wanted it to be a very interesting video in that sense, and I had an ultimate goal to work towards, which I got pretty close to, but I never finished it. But unfortunately, a lot of that footage is gone, along with the other idea I had. All that footage pretty much died, except for like one particular day I have, which was a very important day, which is why I have that footage. I had it like saved because I like was editing a little bit of it, but everything else was gone, and that was because I was using this drive, which honestly I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'll go back to that in a bit, but I don't know what the fuck is going on with that situation. But basically, I had one of those external hard drives, which was nice because you didn't have to like go in the computer and fucking put in a new one or whatever. It was just there, and you could just plug it in to a USB port and bam. I had one of those drives, and I've used many of them over the years. Never had a problem. Even like my old ones from like, we're talking like 7 years ago at this point, even those still work. But this one particular one just kind of decided to die one day, and I remember when it was too. It's because I hadn't played Black Ops 6 in like a couple weeks. It was like early August, I think. And I hadn't played Black Ops 6 in a couple weeks, and there was some event, the starting room event, that's what it was. And a friend wanted to play, and I was like, you know what, yeah, I'll record this. And I started recording, and a couple rounds go by, and then all of a sudden my computer completely freezes for like 2 seconds. And I was like, that's fucking weird. But then my game was like fine, and I was still talking to him, everything was fine, but my OBS was not responding. And I was like, that's weird. And later on, after we were done playing, I tried to close it, and it's not closing. Like, I'm trying to figure out what to do. I even tried to like task manager it and everything. Nothing was working. And I'm like, this is getting a little bizarre. What the fuck is happening? How do I fix this? Like, am I just gonna have to turn off my computer? And in a bit of desperation, I decided to unplug the drive, and suddenly it just worked. But then I couldn't record because my recording path wasn't valid because the drive wasn't in the computer. And I was like, that was fucking weird. And I tried a couple more times to record after that, and it kept just stopped responding, and it wouldn't respond until I unplugged the drive from the computer. And even aside from that, when, like a couple days before this happened, I was using my computer. When I would start up my computer, it would take like sometimes a minute or two just to post to boot into Windows. And it was really bizarre because it's like I have an SSD. It shouldn't take that long, like maybe 30 seconds at most. You know, I'm not like a snob about where it's like, oh, it's got to be done in 5 seconds or it's fucking garbage. Like, no. But when it's taking that long, it's a little strange. And I wasn't sure why. And eventually I realized it was the drive, because the drive was slowing down like the entire computer. Like, I'm talking, I put this thing in, Windows Explorer would not properly load at all. It was really fucking bizarre. And then it stopped even registering. And I was like, well, that sucks, because there was stuff on there that I wanted to have. Like, I had a bunch of Black Ops 6 footage. I had, obviously the stuff I mentioned earlier. That whole almost year's worth of footage of something I was doing, like, daily. And fucking gone. So, that's fucking awesome, you know? That's great. Fuck. You know, I forgot that there's a train. And so, here it comes. There we go. Let me see how bad. How did I forget that there's a train? See, this is not the most ideal situation to be recording in now. But, you know, you gotta seize your opportunities when they come, right? So, there might be a little bit of background noise, but I'm just gonna try to avoid that. So anyways, back to what I was saying. Now that there's a train here, I still kind of unsure what happened. I don't know if the drive just died, because I had another situation a couple days ago, or not even a couple days, like 2 days ago, where I was playing Legend ZA, recording on a different drive, and the same thing sort of happened, and it didn't fix itself until I unplugged the drive. And it was a little strange. And the drive does seem to be working still, which is a blessing, as I'll get to later. But it's kind of starting to scare me a little bit. It's making me think, like, is my computer fucked up? Maybe it's like a bad USB port that's like shorting stuff. I don't know. I can't tell. It's a little concerning, but, you know, at least now I have money, so, I mean, worst comes to worst, I just buy myself a new computer. I'll get a nice paycheck next week, because I worked 5 days this week. I get myself a nice paycheck next week, and then, well, hey, let's just drop some money on a new PC, I guess, if it's fucked up. I think, honestly, it also could be my shitty power supply. Oh man, now it's getting real loud. That was a loud. That one train car was loud. Holy fuck. But as I was saying, with this train noise in the background, I wonder if people like train noise being the back. I mean, I guess like there's like white noise of trains, I guess, right? Maybe people like that. Maybe I need to wait for trains to come more often. But as I was saying, yeah, I don't know if it's my computer, or maybe the power supply in my computer is not great. It's like this weird kind of brand, like Game Diaz or something. There's a Gamer's Nexus video of the particular pre-built PC that I got, and he was like, yeah, I wouldn't trust this fucking power supply. I'll get this replaced. So I actually have another power supply, and I just haven't bothered to replace it because, number one, I'm busy now, and number two, I don't fully know how to replace a power supply. And I was looking into it for like months when I was getting the power supply, and then I never did it. So now I'm like, shit, why did I do that? Or shit, why didn't I do it earlier? Let me, while the train is still going, I'm gonna take a drink of water here. As I could tell that my mouth was drier than the Sahara Desert. Oh, there goes the train. Train's over. Fun's over. But I'll figure out what's going on with the whole PC drive situation stuff soon. Oh yeah, and you know, I also forgot to mention this too. This just happened like 2 days ago as well. I was trying to plug in a drive, and I plugged in my phone because I was getting stuff off my phone. I was getting some of the audio files off my phone, and I was about to plug it into my computer, and literally my whole computer just turned off, and then like restarted. And I was like, "What the fuck? What just happened?" So, yeah, that was a fun situation. I don't know what the hell's going on with that computer. Look, I'm just glad I got a MacBook now. That's all I gotta say. At least I got a fucking backup computer, because Jesus, man. Holy fuck. I hope I can play Black Ops 7 when it comes out. That would suck. Anyways, though. As I was saying, again, so keep getting off track. So, yeah, I kind of had that one drive just die, and it was really bad. And it was bad enough to lose that whole, year-long project sort of thing. But it was a whole other level of bad when I realized that I had lost what was my first ever project for the main channel, which it was this Pokemon challenge idea I had that was it was unique. Nobody had ever done this, and it honestly was like cinema. I'm not even gonna lie, it was cinema. There were so many crazy moments. The stars kind of had to align in a lot of ways for that challenge to work out the way it did. And I realized I actually used to have the footage on my main, like my Windows drive, because number one, I wanted to have it on an SSD so it was easier to edit. And number two, I wanted to make sure I had a backup of it. And I deleted it so I could install some games because I was running low on space because I only have like a terabyte. So I deleted it, and I realized my only backup was on that drive, and the drive was dead. And I was like, oh fuck. And the thing that is particularly egregious about that was that I feel like I mentioned this in another video, but that video I had been working on since like we're talking, I think it was December of 2022 was when I started that, and I finished it about 6 months later. It was, I mean, to be fair, a lot of it was kind of me being lazy and not wanting to do stuff, but I poured in probably a couple hundred hours into that, and that wasn't even going into the fact I wrote the script once. I recorded the whole thing, which it came out to be, after like cutting out some of the silence and all that bad takes. It's about like 2 hours 40 minutes or something like that of just audio, of just the audio from the script. And I did all of that, and then I kind of listened back to it, and I was like, I don't actually like it. So I decided to scrap it, start the script all over again, even outline the script this time, so I had more structure going into it. And I started doing that. I started recording it and everything, and started editing the audio together again. And the same thing happened again. I was like, I don't really like this. So I started working on it again to make it more concise and all that. And that was happening this year. And I had a kind of big reality check, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I had a reality check, I guess, when that drive died. And I was just like, I don't have the footage anymore. It's gone. Like, what do I do? And I had this idea of maybe I would just tell the story of it and maybe draw or kind of edit to tell the story without having those visuals. That was kind of my plan. I was going to try to salvage it like that. But it still just really pained me to realize that. And it was something I didn't realize for a while. Because, like, I got some of the important stuff off that drive. Like, the important, like, documents I had and stuff, I got it off the drive before it just completely stopped working, which I'm very thankful for. That would have sucked. But I still lost literally terabytes of footage. Like 4 terabytes of footage or something like that I lost. It was fucked. But that was the thing that was particularly egregious to me, was losing that footage I had for years that I had wanted to make this video on, and I just never did. And there was even I remember this one dream I had. It was probably about 2 years ago, I want to say. Maybe last year? I don't remember. But I remember I had this dream, and it was like, have you ever read or watched Goosebumps? There's that one story, or I know it was a TV show too, because that was when last year I was watching a bit of Goosebumps. And that was one of the episodes I watched, I think. It was called The Perfect School or something. Basically, the concept of the episode is that they would have parents, like, sign up their kids to go to this perfect school so that they would come back disciplined and kind and all that. And turned out the school was kind of like a hellhole, and it was basically just a fucking prison. And later on in the episode, I mean, I guess spoilers, but I mean, the show is God knows how old at this point, and I mean, come on, it's a Goosebumps thing. But basically, they find out that, like, the school is creating DNA clones of them, and then they're shipping those clones back to the parents as, like, well-behaved kids, or something like that. It's something weird like that. And I honestly, that's probably one of my favorite episodes of Goosebumps, because it's something, like, very different. It's not like, oh, it's gross, or oh, it's scary or something. It's like, it's scary in a very different way. I kind of like it. But I had this dream that was, like, very inspired by it. It's like being in this school prison camp sort of thing. And I remember there was like this one point where I think it was like we're outside, or no, wasn't it outside? I can't remember. I just remember talking to this like guy who was like older. He was like some instructor or whatever, and he was like, he was saying something like, "Is there something you want to do with your life?" And then I kind of had this moment where I was like, yeah, I've been wanting to make this video for like years, and I just haven't done it, and I really want to be able to do it. And I remember that was like kind of something that almost motivated me. I was like, fuck, like I want to make this video before, I can't anymore. There's also last year I kind of had this weird sort of thing. Kind of went away, kind of didn't. Where it was like I just sometimes felt like I couldn't focus and like got these really bad migraines and stuff. Kind of went away. But it was around that time too when I was working on that. And when I stopped and when I couldn't do it anymore, it was kind of the moment where I realized, like, fuck, I kind of wasted a lot of time when I could have had this done. And I wasted so much time on that. And it kind of pissed me off to think about in hindsight. Because it was like, I had all that time before, and now I don't have that. Now I can't really use my computer because I was like pretty much bedridden. Like if I looked at my monitor for an hour, like my head would be spinning. It was bad. But I was just fucking like disappointed at the fact that I had not worked on it as hard as I could have. And I look back now and I'm like, man, I was kind of fucking stupid back then. Like back then I was thinking I have no time to work on this, and it's like I'm not in the mood to work on this and all that. And now I'm like, I have a job and I have to work hours and hours and hours a week, and I literally barely have the time to do all this stuff. Why the fuck isn't I doing it before? Like, I literally had so much more free time before. Why the fuck did I do that, man? Why the fuck did I waste so much time? But back to what I was saying. I kind of had this almost motivation to work on it, but it never really happened. I was kind of doing it this year. And then when I started working, it just completely got away from me. I've not really laid a finger on it since, because number one, I've been doing this stuff, which usually takes up most of my remaining free time I have on top of the other things I'm doing. And I just, when the drive thing happened, I was like, well, I mean, I guess it's just kind of fucked, and I have to like completely restructure the whole thing and figure out how I'm gonna be able to tell the story. But it does have a little bit of a happy ending, and it's funny because I had this idea to record this for like a week or two at least now, maybe longer, when it really hit me. I was like, fuck, I lost all that footage. What do I do? But it's kind of ironic that today was the day I decided I was going to record this video, because I was on that drive I mentioned that kind of got a little fucked up when I was playing Legends ZA the other day. And I was looking around on the drive because there's some stuff that I have there that I want to eventually put onto, I want to put it on this big hard drive I got. I got like a 16 terabyte hard drive or something, which I kind of regret because it has to have its own power, and it kind of like takes a bit to start up. So like the write speeds kind of suck, and then they get a little bit better, and it's like, But, I mean, 16 terabytes, it did cost me a lot more money than I thought it was going to. I thought it was like 179, and like the regular like 4 or 5 terabyte ones were like 150 or something, or like 140 or something maybe. I was like, oh, it's like $179. It's a no-brainer. And then I looked at the receipt later and it said like it was $230. I was like, oh, oops. But I mean, it's fine. I had the money. But like, I was surprised. I was surprised to find that out. But I have this drive that I'm going to start backing up a lot of stuff to. And I was looking at one of my 2 drives I have on my computer that I've been recording to for a while. And I realized there was a folder that was titled after the Pokemon challenge that I've been doing. So I was like, let me check that. And I did. And the footage was all in there. It's all still there. Which I was like, holy shit. It's still there. And it was a really, really happy moment. But it kind of reminded me again that I was going to make this video today. And I realized that now more than ever, I realized I need to be able to seize that opportunity. Because I feel like so many times I've let things pass by me. I mean, I've had all these projects that now have kind of fallen through because the drive died. And I now have an opportunity to kind of rectify the mistake that I've made for years of dragging my feet and thinking, this isn't good enough. I'm just going to restart all over again. I finally have an opportunity to actually fix that. And I need to make sure that I actually take it. Because if I don't, I might regret it. And so I kind of wanted to bring it back, and it's been kind of long because I went into tech issues and all that. There's another train coming. I hear it. Fuck, today's just train day or something? God damn. You know what? If the train's coming, I'm gonna drink some water. Fuck, it's baiting me. I drank water, and it still hasn't come over here yet. Just come over here already, man. Come on. Just let me get it over with. Please? Fuck. Where is this train? I hear it, I swear to God. Is it a ghost train? It is October. Maybe this is a Goosebumps book. R.L. Stine was like, and the ghost train came, and then, I don't know. I can't, fuck, I gotta watch more Goosebumps. That was fun. So, where is this train? The fucking ghost train. Where are you? Oh, wait, I think I hear it. I think it's coming. Is it coming the other way? Where are you? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was coming the other way. That's what got me. You know what though? You just had to cut me off when I was gonna say, you know what? It's a quieter train than the other one, and it instantly blared the horn. Wow, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. But anyways, now that the train is passed, or well, now that the train is, the main part of the train is passed. I mainly just wanted to say that I think it is really important to seize the opportunities that you get, because I know sometimes it's hard, especially I know now, because before I didn't know what hard work was, and now I'm like, fuck me, dude. I had to work yesterday. You know what's crazy? I had this one coworker, man, because we're already pretty short-staffed because, you know, they're trying to get like 2 guys to do the job of 3 to 4 guys. But on top of that, I have this fucking coworker, and he does not help me, man. He doesn't help me with customer orders, and he does the bare minimum. And a lot of the stuff that he does is like very basic stuff so that he can say that he contributed. But it's like, nice, dude, you put some sheets on stuff. You put you like wash the slicer parts. Okay. I had to spend 20 minutes scrubbing the slicer. We're not the same, you know? And then also he always walks away and he goes and he talks to other coworkers and other customers and sometimes even people in the fucking parking lot and shit, and it's like, bruh. And meanwhile, the other day, as he called out the other day, I had to work with a guy who usually works in the kitchen and hadn't worked a night shift in 2 or 3 years. And, what's it called? And he had to leave an hour and 30 minutes early, and I finished faster with that guy than with my usual coworker. That is where we're at. Like, it is easier for me with that guy because that guy helped me more. Like, he swept the floor and he helped me with a bunch of customers. It's insane. But anyways, though, enough ranting about work. But yeah, I know what it's like to work a hard day's worth of work now. And it's not easy, and sometimes it's really just not easy to have that energy and motivation to do stuff. But I feel like you need to make time for it. And I feel like I've especially been getting a little better with making time now because I've realized how to manage my time a little better, which, to be fair, I've been doing a little worse recently, but like also I've been tired as fuck recently, and I've still been doing generally most of it recently. Like, as I mentioned a while ago, I was doing that social media fast, and the plan was to go for like a week and then see what happens from there. But I actually kept going for a couple days, and it was only yesterday I decided to actually watch like a video or two because I saw some BO7 stuff. So I ended up watching a little bit of that just as background noise while I was doing other stuff like cleaning and all that. And I since then I've been going back to the social media stuff a little bit, but not very much. I've been trying to cut it out of my life as much as I can. And I have to say, it is very nice, and it just feels a lot more liberating, you know? Feels like I have a lot more free time to do things now, and that's a good thing, in my opinion. I won't say everything is perfect, but again, like I said in that video, I feel a lot better about things than I did before, so that's cool. But that's kind of an example of me wanting to use my time better and try to seize the opportunities that I have, because I don't want to let this opportunity for this video that I think is going to be an amazing video, I don't want it to just slip away because I was like, oh, I'm too tired. Oh, there's a bird right there. But I don't want it to be something where I'm like, I'm too tired, or maybe another time, or, oh, I gotta rewrite it because it's whatever. I am still I'm probably going to do some different writing and stuff, but generally speaking, I'm really trying to. Oh, that goes the bird. Went another bush. I want to try and avoid that this time, because you can make excuses, but only up to like a point. At some point, you have to recognize that it's you, and it's like, yeah, I don't have a lot of time because I'm doing this stuff and I'm trying to be more creative and I'm trying to I'm going to work and I'm trying to go to new places and trying to still find time to play Pokemon Go. And I mean, Legends ZA came out and I would like to play more of it. Only gotten to play probably about like maybe 4 hours or so, maybe 4 or 5 hours, I don't know. But the point is that there are excuses I can make, but at the end of the day, it's ultimately on me if I never finish it. And so that's why I'm trying to finish it the best I can. And I don't know how easy it's going to be, but I am going to keep doing my best because I think it's important. But I also wanted this to be sort of a inspirational thing, not just for me, but for other people too, because I feel like a lot of times we always drag our feet on a lot of things, and I'm just hoping that people can take this video and maybe apply it to their own lives in some way. Like, I don't know, maybe, for example, let's say you're trying to do this painting or something, right? And you keep starting it and you keep stopping it and you can't get it quite right and whatever. And you keep putting it off, or you keep not working on it as hard as you could be. And you never know what's going to happen someday, because there's always someday where, I don't know, maybe you get in a car accident and like your left arm has to be cut off, or maybe it's just like your paint just dries and you can't find that same color again, so you can't get it exactly the way you want it anymore. Or maybe it's maybe you are finally getting somewhere with it, somewhere you like, and you left it outside one day or something and like it fucking rained and it just ruined the whole painting. There is a lot of things that can go wrong, and I kind of was ignorant of that for a long time, and I just was like, well, I'll do it eventually. And I had all these deadlines for it. I was gonna be like, okay, when I first finished it, because I finished the actual run in like May of 2023. Yeah, May 2023. And I was like, okay, I'll try to have it out by the end of the summer. And barely made any progress, and then scrapped it, obviously, like I said. And then I was like, I'll finish it by the end of the year. And the end of the year came and I didn't finish it. I was like, well, I'll finish it this year. And then that year went by and it's like, okay, well, that didn't happen. And I was thinking about trying to do it this summer, and then the footage thing happened. It's like, oh, well, fuck. But now I have the footage again. So now I'm thinking, fuck, when am I going to get this thing out now? And I feel like every time I give myself deadlines, it doesn't work out. Like, it never works out. I feel like it should just be, I finish it when I finish it. But I try to finish it as soon as possible. And it's like, I don't know when I'm going to finish it. It's probably going to take a long time because I want to put a lot of effort into it. But I need to at least put effort into it and make something. Because I think one of the biggest problems that I always have with a lot of things is that I'm afraid to start something and have it not like look good. But the thing is if you just have something, this is one of the things I learned about doing a lot of like pixel art and art and stuff, is that if you just try to draw something like as perfect as you can, it's not going to work very well, because you're just going to be stuck trying to draw it again and again and again, and, you know, restarting again and again and again. That's just going to keep happening, because you have to give yourself a baseline to start with. And it applies pretty much in most things. Like, let's say you're making a program, right? You can't just, or a game. I guess a game is something I could say is a little more applicable, or at least have a better example for it. Because you can make a whole game, but there's a lot of things that need to be figured out when you're making the game. And so it's a lot easier if, for example, maybe you're making a Metroidvania, and the first thing you do is you don't start making the map and the cutscenes and the dialogue and the weapons and skills and whatever. You just start with the movement. You just, how does the jump feel? How do the animations feel? How does the cooldown time feel? How does the distance feel? How does the speed feel of it? That sort of thing. Because that gives you a baseline. Because if you build the whole game and then you're like, well, the movement kind of sucks. Your whole game was built around flawed movement. And now you can't change that. So by starting with, you know, just basic building blocks, that's how you get to where you get to. And something I neglected a lot because I wanted it to be perfect. I didn't want to start out with something that's mediocre and then go back and change all these little things to it and all that. I don't really know particularly why. I guess it can be kind of like sloppy or unorganized sometimes to do things that way. But you end up with a much better product in the long run. Like, I was watching a lot of pixel art tutorials, and that was one of the big kind of takeaways that I had, where when you start, because what I would always do is I would always just like draw the lines and stuff and try to get the lines perfect. But the thing about doing that is that because you're doing that, you are kind of locking yourself into things. Whereas when you start and you just kind of block in the general shape, and then maybe you incorporate some of the shades, and you don't even use the right colors, you intentionally use the wrong colors so that you don't get attached to what you've made. That is a much better process, because you have something and then you get to iterate on it and go back if you don't, maybe you don't like a particular way you shaded, or maybe you don't like how the shape turned out. And it's easy to change as well, because it's like, okay, well, I wasn't really attached to this anyway, so I could just change this. Because if you change that whole movement system after you've already made the whole game, you kind of have to change the whole game. But if you start out with the basics, you start out with that movement system, then you build the game around that, and that is a big thing. That saves you a lot of headaches down the line. And something I never really noticed when I made my video on Terminus Cranked, that was something I kind of did. There were like some things that I wanted to do where I wanted like no HUD footage. I wanted to just kind of be, I wanted to show more of like an explanation of things. But I didn't have that footage yet because I didn't know exactly how I wanted it to be. So when I did that, I just kind of used a bunch of placeholder footage that I had from when I was playing the game, of like the general area I kind of wanted to get at some point. And that was really helpful, because then later on I could just go and be like, okay, yeah, I want to change this, so I'll change this to a different thing, something like that. And I made that mistake for so long, even kind of now, but I'm trying to stop doing it now. But it's important to not get attached to that stuff early. I don't know how I got on this tangent completely. I don't even remember how this happened, to be entirely honest. I don't remember what the fuck happened. How did I end up here? But as I was saying, I want to be able to seize those opportunities better and not get so attached to having something be perfect immediately. Just have something, because it's better to have something than to have nothing. Like, I think this is always a problem I had with the scripts too, which I guess in a sense it kind of ties back to that, because I had those scripts where I wrote them all out, recorded the whole thing, and I realized, I don't like it. And so it's like, scrap the whole script. Whereas if I started with something and then I realized, maybe I don't like this, I could just change it later on and it's no big deal. But when you've already outlined something and then wrote something and then recorded something, and now it's like, well, I already recorded the whole thing, it's kind of hard to change it, and then you just end up kind of scrapping everything and starting all over again. And I think that was my big mistake, ultimately, when it came to being able to seize opportunities correctly, at least with creative stuff. It's important to be able to recognize that. And it's important to be able to just want to really seize your opportunities. Even if it's just you're doing something for 20 minutes, you just write down a couple of ideas, or you draw a little bit, or you spend 20 minutes coding a part of your game's movement system or something like that. Just some basic ideas. That goes a long way to being able to actually seize your opportunities instead of just being an idiot and just not really working on it as much as you should. I fucked up a lot, but I am hopefully going to rectify a lot of that and stop being stupid in the future. So that's good. This is way longer than I was gonna anticipate it being. I thought I was gonna be able to bang this out in like 20-30 minutes, and here we are, 53 minutes. Oops. But yeah, I think that's mostly everything I have to say. There's one obvious takeaway from it all. It's just seize your opportunities. Maybe don't spend forever on YouTube or whatever, and focus on doing the things that you want to do and fulfill you. And again, I know it's not easy, because obviously these things take time or effort or energy, but the reward usually ends up being pretty worth it, I would say. When I finished that Terminus video, I felt really good. Until I saw I got like 60 views, that it's been stuck at 60 views, and yeah, like I put in so much more effort into that one than I did with the Citadel video. And that Citadel video is like the one that popped off, and then I tried to follow it up with that, and it's just shit. I don't know, maybe people just stopped giving a fuck about zombies at that time, I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm gonna end it. And I'm going to try and focus on seizing more of those opportunities in the future. And also not having projects that take like 3 years to make. Try to not try to avoid that next time. So, yeah, I guess that's it.